Today, we're ranking some diets. Hey, it's Sarah, and I thought it would be fun for us to make a tier list of some of the popular diets out there. I love watching people make tier lists of all kinds of different things, so why not bring it over here to the nutrition world and talk about some of the diets that you probably hear about a lot. Now, quick disclaimer, okay? I am a dietitian and want to make it clear to you that I am not advocating for any of these diets. I'm not advocating for dieting in general. It's not a great thing to do. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the tiers when we get into it, but just so you know, we're not ranking these from like best to worst, or like if you're going to go on a diet, these ones aren't quite as bad. That's not what we're doing here. But I do find that a lot of diets seem to group together or cluster into some different categories. And so we can go over all that today in our tier list. Let's go through some of the categories I came up with first, and then we'll start putting things together. So the first category we have is, but why though? So this is gonna be for all of the diets that there could be a legitimate reason why someone would follow that way of eating, but a lot of the times people are using it to lose weight or to generically get healthy. And in those cases, it's not a great idea. But there are some circumstances where it's someone could be on this diet and it not be an unhealthy thing because there's a real reason behind it. Next category is, I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom. These are for all of the diets who are like, I'm not like the other diets, I'm different, or I'm not a diet at all, I'm a lifestyle. There's a lot of those out there who really try to differentiate themselves to be like, they're different from all the other diets, or they're not a diet at all, when really they're just diets in disguise. So that's what this category is for. Next we have, it's a banana, how much could it cost? $10? And this is for all of the diets that are super expensive or just kind of out of touch in terms of practicality, finances with the real world, or in my opinion, it's just like, man, you're spending a lot of money for something that really isn't it. Then we have, this lady has no idea what she's talking about. And this category for me is like, if I made a video about this diet, I would get a comment from someone that says, this lady has no idea what she's talking about. And then usually they say something like, if you want to know the truth about blah, 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 you should go look at Dr. Insert, usually a man's name here, and go see what they have to say about it. So these are all the diets that have a strong, I would say, kind of fanatical community around them. It really becomes a part of people's identity when they follow these particular diets. And then somehow if I make a video about that diet talking about why it might not be the best idea ever, some of the problems with it, all that kind of thing, they will descend into the comments and then they will say, this lady has no idea what she's talking about. So those are these. And then our category here at the bottom is what I'm calling go touch some grass. So this is for all of the diets that it's like, wow, you are just you've lost the plot, you're really out there, you're not even here hanging out with the rest of us at this point. Come back to us, put your phone down, go touch some grass, and come back to reality. So now that we've got the categories down, let's get to making our tier list. All right, so the first one we have here is Whole30. Now, if you're not familiar with Whole30, it's an elimination style diet. You eliminate a lot of different foods, whole categories of foods. You do it for 30 days, and it's supposed to be like a reset or help you see if you have any allergies or intolerances. That's kind of the idea behind it. But people are usually doing it to try to lose weight. It's not really based on too much of anything, and it's quite restrictive, and it really limits what you can eat. So I kind of feel like it could be in this I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom category, because it really tries to position itself as this is for your health. This is not not like other diets where you have to track everything you eat or something like that. But also it's so kind of it's so restrictive, you can't go out and do everyday things. And that makes me feel like maybe it's more in this it's a banana, how much could it cost? Because if you're doing Whole30, they even have rules around like making foods that mimic off-limit foods with approved ingredients. It's a lot happening. We also have, you might not be able to see, oh, there's a tail. Toasty, Mr. Toasty has joined us on the desk. I feel like, we're already starting off with a tough one here right from the jump. I think I'm gonna put this one in It's a Banana, how much could it cost? $10. Because there is that whole element of like it being really impractical, and that's kind of what I think is like the main thing I think about when I think about Whole30. Okay, next we have Weight Watchers, or now WW. You know, this has been around for a while. They're always trying to give themselves a fresh face, but I feel like this is solidly, I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom. Because they're always trying to make themselves sound like, you know, we're the reasonable diet, or we're the one that's always been here and works, and we're not like all those other fad diets that everyone's doing. We're Weight Watchers, we're WW. You know, they've changed their name to take weight out of it because they know that that's not what people are kind of getting wise to, maybe like that weight and health aren't the same thing, and we shouldn't be putting those things together. So you see that in how they've changed their name. So I think that's a perfect example of like, I'm not like other girls type of thing. Okay, this next one is vegan. Now, the vegan diet, I think will go, this is very much a but why though, because, okay, there are reasons why someone might follow a vegan diet, like for ethical reasons, religious reasons, things like that. Makes sense, totally fine, nothing like disordered about that. But a lot of times people are eating a vegan diet for weight loss, or because they're convinced that they have to eat 100% vegan to be healthy. And that's not the case. So there are circumstances where someone might follow a vegan diet and it's totally legit, but not always. So we're gonna put that in the but why though. All right, next, Soylent. If you don't know about Soylent, boy, have I got a story for you. Okay, so Soylent is this product that, if you're familiar with like the Soylent Green concept, it's named after that. And it's basically like this kind of tech bro like product of like, at least when it was first created and kind of launched, of like, you know, you're working, you're doing your job, you're living your life, and you just don't have time to eat. And like, food takes so much time and you have to do it multiple times a day. And like, you know, you got to be worried about, does it taste good? Who cares? I just need fuel for my body. So they made this product that has everything you need in a drink, and it's like a meal replacement. You just drink this and then you don't have to eat food. That is for me very much go touch some grass. Like, you are not here with the rest of us anymore. You're like trying to come up with reasons why like food is such a hassle, and so we just need to replace meals and eating and cuisine. No, I'm not here for that. Okay. Next we have the ketogenic diet. Now, this is another one that I feel like could go in a couple categories. So part of me thinks that this is a but why though, because, you know, when we learn about ketogenic diets when studying to be a dietitian, the main context we learn about them is children who have epilepsy. Sometimes a ketogenic diet can reduce their seizures. So that's the thing, that sometimes kids will eat a ketogenic diet as, you know, a therapeutic diet. But that's not like a super common occurrence. Most people who are doing keto are like adult people doing it for a weight loss thing, or because they've been told that it's the only way to be healthy. And they tend to be quite opinionated. Like, it's neither of these, I don't think. I really think this might be our first, this lady has no idea what she's talking about. We're putting that there. Because I actually have made a video about the ketogenic diet a while back, and whew, man, the comments were interesting. And probably there, I would not be surprised if there isn't one that verbatim says, this lady doesn't know what she's talking about. Because people are really passionate about their keto diets. Part of it might be because they're hungry, or like just need like a slice of bread, maybe they wouldn't be so feeling so down. Okay, next up is Noom. Noom is like so trendy right now. They're like, we have an app, we're technology, psychology, we're not a diet. This is, I think, very obvious. I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. They're very much out there trying to be like, we are different. We are not a diet. We're not the bad things. But they are. It's like tracking. It's like a lot of, honestly, kind of types of messaging that you can find in eating disorder conversations, like in eating disorder communities and stuff like that. But it's framed in this like healthy psychology kind of bow, which to me almost makes it even worse because it is like positioning itself as not the thing that it really is. So that's gonna go there. Okay, next up, intermittent fasting. This one, this lady has no idea what she's talking about. Again, people are like really into their intermittent fasting. They feel very strongly about it. Even though there's like a lot of different formats and kinds of different types of fasts and stuff people are doing. And you know, they will come for you if you say that maybe not. Maybe let's not do that. So that's going there. Okay, next one is, so we had vegan. This is raw vegan. So we're taking it up another notch. And I would also, if we want to get really specific, we could say the 80-10-10 raw food, fruitarian, whatever, all the words that go together. 80-10-10 refers to the macro breakdown of 80% carbs, 10% protein, 10% fat. This is something that definitely still exists, but I felt like was really getting a lot of attention maybe like 5 or 10 years ago. There were a lot of YouTube channels of people who followed this particular diet. And it was like you had to eat raw because reasons, that was the best way or something, and you were supposed to have very low protein, very low fat. And because they can't cook anything, like cooking makes food easier to digest, so you have to really spend a lot of your time and energy eating because you're only eating raw foods. You can't cook anything. That cuts out a lot of like vegan foods that also are very dense in energy or calories, like grains, for example. And very low fat, so even things that are raw, like an avocado, you gotta kind of watch that, or nuts and seeds on this particular diet because you don't want to get your fat up too much or then you're out of the 80-10-10 ratio. So these people end up eating a lot of fruit. And some of them would move to Hawaii, which I'm like, if you gotta move to a different climate to follow your diet, to me, that's go touch some grass. Like, we are really getting in the weeds here on something that is not based on anything. And like, I think it did well online because like the pictures were pretty, all this beautiful, like bright colored produce and people living in Hawaii, like a tropical climate with like bananas and pineapples all around them in their thumbnails. But no, we're not doing that. Okay, next up is the paleo diet. And this one is another, this lady has no idea what she's talking about. People who are paleo, it's like a part of who they are, and they are not happy when you're not a fan of the paleo diet. So that's gonna go there. Next one is Octavia. Now this is one that you have probably seen, but don't even know that you've seen it. I was in this category for a while, and then when I found out, I was like, oh, it's like, you know, all of the dots start connecting and all the pieces start coming together. So it's one of these MLM type companies, or like coach type health and wellness companies, where you buy a kit with a lot of like products. I think they have supplements or like special foods and stuff like that. It's weight loss focused, but because they use this kind of coach MLM structure where you have coaches below coaches and stuff like that. A lot of times you see people posting about this online, particularly Facebook, where they're there with people they actually know and trying to get their friends from high school or from their hometown or from college or whoever to like, please ask them about their amazing health journey they've been on. They'll post a picture and be like, I'm feeling better than ever. I'm doing all the stuff I couldn't do before. Like, it's so great. Like, if you want to know more, just send me a message. And it's like a policy to not actually mention the name of the company or what exactly you're trying to sell people on, to kind of get them in. So you've probably seen things that were like Optavia ads from your friends who are coaches and like trying to do this to make money, but didn't even know it. Okay, so with all that said, I'm gonna put that in the it's a banana, how much could it cost $10? Because you're buying all of this like stuff, these kits, and then there's the MLM structure, which has all of the problems that we know about. We could get, there's a whole nother, that's a whole other can of worms. But, whenever I see things like that, I do find it frustrating because like food is an expense that people have to fit into their budget. And oftentimes if you're trying to change the way you're eating or, buy certain types of ingredients, they might be more expensive than what you've been buying before. Or if you're trying to learn how to cook, sometimes you might mess something up and then that food might go to waste. And so it is a real consideration for people is the finances of, how food fits into their overall budget for their household. And then to see these types of things where like, someone might be interested in getting healthier and now they're being sold on all these like random products and stuff and kits and stuff they gotta buy. It's just, I really don't like that. Okay. Similar is Nutrisystem, and I'm also gonna put that in It's a Banana, how much could it cost $10? Nutrisystem is, I feel like was really, really popular when I was like in middle and high school, and it's still around. You can get their stuff now, I think kind of like more freely. You don't have to order it directly from them, but it's a diet plan where you're buying a lot of food products that are like pre-portioned and packaged, but then you still have to buy like all of the other things you would need, the fresh foods, fruits and vegetables, dairy products, legumes, grains, meats, all those kinds of things that you might be eating. But then you also have these Nutrisystem stuff like on top of it, and then it kind of tells you how much you should eat each one. So like such an extra expense to be buying all of their extra stuff. Okay, this next one, I didn't know what picture to do for this, but we're going with this one. This is for the alkaline diet. And the alkaline diet is all about this idea that you need to eat foods that are alkalizing for your body rather than acidic. And it's not like about the pH of the food, it's about what it does when you eat it. So it ends up being a lot of fruits and vegetables. It's restrictive on some meats and things, but it's not only is it like restricting what you eat, but it also is not super intuitive. So, but I don't find that people are particularly passionate about it, or at least that hasn't been my experience. Maybe they are, but I think this goes in It's a Banana, how much could it cost $10? Because it's one of these things that was really popularized, or at least known for being popular among people like Gwyneth Paltrow and Tom Brady. So I feel like it got a lot of attention for that, but I don't know a lot of people who are really doing it. And because again, it's like it's not even like some of these things like paleo or even like Whole30 or a vegan, where it's like, okay, I know what foods go with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I can just know like, oh, I'm not eating this category, I am eating that category. With the alkaline diet, we've got another cattail coming through. With the alkaline diet, it's not intuitive. So you're gonna be looking at these lists there's too much going on. No one has time for that. Okay, next up, Atkins. This was like, I feel like the precursor for a lot of the other ones on here. This is, a low carb diet that got a lot of attention when I was growing up, but it had been around before that. But I think Atkins, I don't know that we really think about it this way now, but hey, Luna. I'm gonna put Atkins in I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom. Because I feel like its energy, especially when it was very popular, was definitely of, you know, all those other diets, you have to like track your food or reduce the amount you eat. But with Atkins, you just have to be low carb. And that was kind of like strange for people at the time to hear about. Like, what? I can just, and you just eat meat? Like, I feel like people thought of it that way. It's like the meat diet, you just eat meat, which isn't exactly right. But it kind of had that reputation, but it's not like the other diets. Now it's more associated, I feel like, with products. So maybe it could go in the like, it's a banana, how much could it cost? $10? Because it's a lot of like pre-packaged Atkins bars and shakes and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like the original spirit around it that I felt like a lot of people had was this like, it's not like other diets. Okay, next up, gluten-free. This one I think people have gotten wise to it, but it's still, people are doing it for not the right reasons. And I think this goes in a but why though. Because, you know, like eating a gluten-free diet is totally legit for someone who has celiac disease, you know, where gluten is something they can't eat because it doesn't agree with their body, right? Like things are gonna happen. But that's different from all the people who were doing it because they got convinced that like gluten was automatically bad for everyone for some reason, or if you know, do this one weird trick, just eat gluten-free and you'll be skinny, or whatever, you know, it may be. So it's definitely something that someone might be doing for a legit reason, but a lot of people were not. I will say it's kind of like a silver lining to the whole gluten-free craze though, was I feel like for people who really do need gluten-free products, it was really a boon for them, like something that was obscure and a lot of people didn't know about. Now a lot more people are familiar with, and there are a lot more products available on the shelves for the people who really do need it because it did become a fad. But on the flip side, I think also a lot of times people don't take it as seriously if you truly need to eat gluten-free, because they think of it as a fad diet and might not recognize that like, no, some people really need to eat this way for like a medical reason. Okay, so that's gluten-free. And then this one, this picture is not great, but this is the Liver King diet. Liver King, popular on social media, known for a lot of things like sleeping on a hard wooden platform, like locking up all the cell phones in his house, except when he's being filmed for social media or the phone that you're looking at his posts on. But also known for eating a lot of liver, particularly raw liver. And other raw meats and things as well. This for me is gonna go in Go Touch Some Grass, which is kind of ironic because I feel like he would always talk about how he wants to live an ancestral lifestyle and what our ancestors did, and all that kind of thing, which like being in touch with nature is part of that. But this is like not reality. Like, just practically speaking, there is not that much liver. Like, only a certain proportion of any animal that you might eat is the liver portion, and then there's the rest of it. Our ancestors were not like tossing the rest of the food out because we've got to get the precious livers. Also now we know that he's been on steroids, so it's just like, no, like we're not even here in like a real place anymore. So that's going definitely in Go Touch Some Grass. So let's take a look here at our final tier ranking. I am honestly kind of surprised that there are so many in It's a Banana, how much could it cost? $10. I wasn't really expecting that. But it also kind of does make sense because in reality, all of these things are to make money one way or another. So it makes sense that a lot of these would be kind of out of touch with what is reasonable or practical for the majority of people. But we've also got this kind of like, I don't know, bell curve shape going on, which is not intentional. And again, this is not like, I want to reiterate, not ranked from best to worst, but you can definitely see we have some types here. Not very many, but some that are legit, and then other ones who try to differentiate themselves in different ways or are different types or flavors of diets. And I think too, like when you look at this, it kind of helps you to see like how all of these diets really do follow these certain trends or types. And you can see some of the ones that are a little more out there, but still none of them are great. And they all have their little thing that they're trying to do to make them seem like they're different. but really it's all just a different version of ultimately the same not so great thing. So that's gonna wrap it up for our tier ranking today. I would love to hear in the comments what you thought of this type of video. It's my first time doing a tier list like this, and I thought it was fun. And I think there are some other things maybe we could do. Let me know if you have ideas for other things like food, cooking, gardening, nutrition, anything like that, that we could do a tier list for, because I think it could be pretty fun. And Luna wants me to pay attention to her, so I think that means it's time for me to go. But I hope that you are having a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.